Okay, so I've been trying to do this review for almost a year now. Not because it's hard to do or anything. I have a full script ready to go. 24 pages and almost 15,000 words. It's a full review with a full story and gameplay breakdown. I can try to link it to a Google Doc or keep it a basic audio only video, but it has taken me too long to do this. And I think I may know why it has been like this. Part of it is that I hate listening to myself talk back for editing. Sure, yes. But honestly, this game is just boring. That's the biggest issue. Even doing this review is boring. The story, the combat, the side missions, the AI, there is nothing fun or redeeming about this game, in my opinion. I mean, it was made by Ubisoft, who at this point use basically the same formula for every game. The biggest difference is with this one was that there wasn't any towers to unlock map sections visibility-wise, like in other games. Once you are in a new world, you are basically free to explore it however you want. Yes, there are some small parts you can't without some tools, but for the most part, it's an open map. The story is nothing new nor impressive. It is predictable as a kid's story with no real twist or turns that would make you go, "Oh, I didn't see that coming." Now, normally I would play the game blind, so I would go through the story with my own feelings. But I had watched EFAP and Star Wars Theory play through this in a 4-hour compilation. So I knew what I was getting into. However, I did keep an open mind while playing it. While watching the video, I called each and every twist before it happened. The only thing that didn't happen that I thought was going to was Kay, the protagonist, was the child of Sliro, the antagonist. Literally, that was the only thing I got wrong. But let's get into it. Our first scene is Sliro, the head of the gang called Zarek Betch, which honestly is such a terrible name, having a meeting with ambassadors from the 3 other major gangs. They are the Huts, very well known, the Crimson Dawn, brand new, and the Pikes, also brand new. This meeting entails Sliro calling out a spy and going over his family history as shipmakers during the Clone Wars. When the Empire took over, greed took them, and his brother took everything. It ends with him ordering the deaths of the ambassadors. Why? Well, we are meant to think that he is scary and tough. It doesn't work, however, since we saw this coming a mile away. It would have been better if he did it himself, not some random goons. Now we cut over to Kay and her trusty pet, Nyx. Nyx is like a small dog thing, but also like a cat, if that makes sense. I don't think it does, but hey. Now, Kay herself has nothing worth really remembering. They try to make her a female Han Solo, but she lacks just about everything that made Han, well, Han. She isn't charismatic, she isn't charming, and she doesn't come off as confident as him. Now, don't get me wrong. Han wasn't sure of himself all the time, but he never let his friends down. Kay, in short, is a failure. She has been trained by her hacker mom, who has gone since she was a child. Rico, mom, left when she was 12 for some reason, one we never actually find out, and had a friend, Bram, watch over her. Now we kind of have to assume he just gave her a room for 10 years and didn't teach her anything else. I mean, literally anything. Not how to be a good person, not how to paint, not how to do math. Just let her do her own thing. But this means that she didn't learn how to do anything right. She has never done a job or heist, small Small-time ones, at least. Right. And has been caught every time. I mean, during the training mission, she fails to stay undetected as an alarm goes off, and she says, "I didn't plan for this." What the 10 years. And she still doesn't plan for an alarm? Really? But the gang she's stealing from, again, it seems, Sixth Kin, knows her well enough to go to Burns' bar and shoots him. Now, he's fine because it was in the leg, but he basically tells her to go fuck off. Earlier, we saw a small gang or small team trying to hire him or someone, and he sends her to them. Now, they are planning a heist. And when she arrives, they all literally just leave. Funny enough, she doesn't ask what the heist is until halfway there. Yeah, pro move. The best part is that she only has to reach a vault door. She's given every tool needed to do everything. Dodge some dumb AI and cameras, and boom, she's there. And big shocker, the vault isn't holding the credit she was thinking she was stealing. It holds the spy. Yep, he isn't in a cell being tortured for info. He is instead in the vault. Makes sense. The spy, Ashura, and crew are actually with the rebels, and he was looking for something. Well, at this point, Kay demands payment. He tries to recruit her, but she only wants money. I mean, I would too, honestly, but not in the middle of the fucking mission. Wait till you're out of the hot zone. Oh, and the alarms are going off too now. Well, one rebel is tired of Kay and literally knocks her out. Yeah! While out, we are treated to one of her flashbacks. This is of when she was a little kid. This one is her mom basically telling her that someone won't always be there to watch her back. After ditching her when the police catch her stealing something. Okay, but why not teach her something actually useful? Whatever. Kay wakes up to Sleerer pressing her for info as he thinks she is with the rebels. I guess technically she was for like 5 minutes. When she doesn't answer him, he wants to torture her, but Nick saves the day. Woohoo! As she is escaping, we overhear Sleerer placing a death mark on her. Something that has zero effect outside of being brought up 2 or 3 times. Kay finally gets away in a ship that she has no clue how to fly and literally random jumps to another world. Even more luck that she didn't crash into any of the junk in orbit, and the ship held together as it crashed into the world. Like nothing happened to the ship. Nothing. Got a little dirt on it. That's about it. The windows are fine and didn't fall apart. Hell, she wasn't buckled into her seat, and she didn't go into the cockpit. Yep. It's a game. I guess we don't need to worry about small details like that, very small, insignificant details. Anyway, she pushes some buttons as if she thinks the ship will magically just fix itself and start right back up. Instead, she finds her iconic jacket and puts it on. As she is leaving, she gets jumped by someone who is on the run from bad guys, who just so happen to show up at that exact moment in time. Yeah! Just to teach us a new mechanic in the game. Jedi! After saving him, Waka says he can fix the ship as so long as Kay gets the parts he needs. Fine, whatever. As it seems he's not very well liked in the city. Now, the biggest thing we learned in the city, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce anymore, because I'm so bad, is the reputation system. This is what literally the entire game is meant to revolve around. Your reputation is meant to be everything. And yet it isn't. You can literally do only the story missions and get whatever rep you get from that, and the game will not have any major changes at all. The only time it does change is when you're in a bad standing. This will have 4 or 5 gang members hunt you down in the open world. On the other hand, good to perfect will allow you to go into gang turf with little to no issues. The problem with that, admit it, you knew I was going to say this, is that you actually can't go everywhere. Even with full perfect rep, you are still barred from going to some spots in gangs' turfs, which, in my opinion, renders the entire system fucking moot. Now, you get some gear with stat boosts, and that's really it. There is no real reason to work so hard for reputation that doesn't change anything about the game. Now, someone might say, it unlocks market items and gain-only missions, and while true, these don't affect the overall game. My point is, if you're going to have a mechanic like the reputation system be what the whole game is about, it needs to be the one thing that is perfected and is present throughout the entire game. Also, I want to bring something up that isn't necessarily part of the reputation system, but it's still important to the game in my opinion. The title of the game is called Star Wars Outlaws, and yet I have never really met an outlaw. Sure, we have the gangs, but no real outlaws. If it was meant for Kay, she's the worst outlaw I have ever seen. I wasn't expecting you to break laws like Grand Theft Auto, where you go around and just go nutso, wiping entire towns out. But you can't even speed on your speeder in any small villages. You literally slow down to 5 miles per hour, if that. Then you can't even bring it into cities. You can't even pull your blaster out until you are in gang territory. And that's like very fine-tuned line. You can't even throw fisticuffs. You can't just go up to a random person and go boom, 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 or a stormtrooper, boom, boom. Yes, you can't even attack a stormtrooper. What does that tell you? And if you try to go up to a gang member guarding gang territory, you get pushed and given a word to leave. If you don't, you get told again, and again, and again, and again, and again. You could literally do this for an hour and they won't do anything. It's such a it's a childish version of what an outlaw is. It's actually laughable. Going back to the story, this world, like the last, is literally just one big training mission, teaching you the basics while trying to build up to something. Basically, Waka works on the ship called the Trailblazer. Kay has a bounty hunter following her, which was fast, but game logic. And once Waka needs only one last part, he turns on you. I mean, hints were there since the moment we met and throughout the entire world, but this is such a shock. He also seems to have a crush on this ship, which is kind of weird. Like, use your imagination if you want. But with all the luck and blatant plot armor in the entire universe, Kay is saved by the bounty hunter named Vale. Yes, the very last moment, Waka tries to kill you, steal the part. But Vale comes in and saves Kay's ass. Literally the last second. Literal plot armor. Now, Vale isn't some random bounty hunter. Oh, no, 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 no. She was hired by Zarek Beck to hunt Kay down. But wait, Kay has a death mark on her, so what is the point of hiring a hunter if a death mark would open her up to the entire hunter group? Or maybe some gangs that would love the extra money? Or even just some random NPC who needs money to feed a family? Well, with one plot armor event over, Vale tries to take Kay with her. But another plot armor mode happens as Kay is able to escape from Vale by pushing some buttons. However, she gets stuck because of the door, and Vale catches up with her. Once again, Vale tries to bring Kay with her. And once again, literal plot armor. This time in the form of a battle droid. More specifically, a commando droid. Like, 3 fucking plot armor moments in less than a minute. What the fuck is this garbage writing? This isn't how you write a story unless you want your main character looks like a Mary Sue or a Gary Stu. Yes, I use those terms because that's what Kay was made to be. Now, with the droid fighting Vale, Kay starts going on a rant. One she goes throughout the first 2 worlds. In short, it goes, she can't trust anyone. Well, Waka and Rebels for sure. She works better alone. 10 years would disagree. How she just needs enough credits to escape to the core worlds and live how she wants to be. She's doing such a great job on that one. With Nyx. But now she has a ship. So will she just leave to do who knows what because she has no credits and a death mark? So she's still more or less screwed no matter what she does. However, this is not the case, as that would mean the game would be over. On the ship, there is a handsome man named Jalen. The droid that was fighting Vale shows back up, without Vale, and disarms Kay after she draws on Jalen. And we learn the droid's name is ND. And I'm going to keep it ND because I don't care for his full name. ND is Jalen's bodyguard, and Jalen has a job for Kay. Kay, to her credit, tries to turn it down at first, as it's going back to Sliro's mansion. But there's millions of credits involved. She then lists the reasons why the heist won't work, as if she was given the schematics from the last time. No, really, she seems to suddenly have knowledge about the whole mansion she didn't have before. Remember, she was given a key and a code to unlock the vault, not the plans to the place. So how does she have this info? No clue. She also doesn't want to build a team of people she doesn't know, which I kind of get, but at the same time it's like you kind of have to. But Jalen gives a small speech on how people like Sliro look down on people like them, Kay and Jalen. And let's be honest, Jalen is clearly hiding something and is a broker. He does the looking down. It's up to people like them, Kay and Jalen, to even the playing field. And literally just like that, Kay's in. Christ. She just got done saying she couldn't trust people, and this total stranger just shows up and tells her that she could die getting revenge. But you gotta stick to the man. And she's all in. Again. This is not how you write stories. And keep in mind, Jalen got into a locked ship. This will be important later. So, as Kay goes to get her first teammate, Vale calls Sliro and tells him that Kay got away. Sliro then goes on this pointless rant on how the Trailblazer is the last of its model. It was too expensive to make since it was nearly impossible to destroy. Could hide things in it and it was very fast. It was the perfect ship for the underworld. But his family couldn't keep it going. He had the last one, and he is mad now that Kay has it. Vale tries to tell him that a droid was working with her, but he cuts her off and rants about something else. I honestly don't recall nor care enough to look it up. Vale says she just needs more time before Sliro hangs up. He pushes a button to end the call because it's all holograms. It's not phones. I wrote that wrong in the script, okay? Sue me. Now, the crew members you get, three of them. I can't do this thing. 3 of them have their own stories attached to them. Now, the crew members you get, 3 of them, have their own stories attached to them to explain who they are. These stories, however, suck. 2 of them owe money to the gang, and the other one is a former friend of Kay. I say former because the last job they worked on together, she literally left him behind and he got captured to work for the Empire. So we will focus on him for the time being. His story could have been neat. A dive into Kay's mind and how she really thinks of other people. Not that we don't already know. But Kadik's mission isn't that. Instead, it's that he made a new droid for the Empire, and when Kay frees him, he wants to destroy it. How does Kay get him back, you may ask, since he hates her, and in fact tries to kill her? She tells him about Endy, and literally everything just suddenly changes. He's a droidsmith, you see, and he loves droids, to the point that he will suddenly forget everything that had happened to him and you, between him and you before. This is dog shit. In order to destroy the new droid, he asks the rebels to help him out. Kay gets mad, which I get, but she needs Kadik, so she agrees to help, very reluctantly. While destroying the droid and its coding from the databanks, Endy comes in and helps. He begins to have issues at the end of it, but the mission is still completed. The rebels once more try to get Kay to join them, and she says that they talk too much. Pot meet kettle. But Kadik's on the team. Yeah, I'll get into how this is all messed up later, but that's how short this story is. He wants to destroy... He's captive, Kay frees him, he wants to kill Kay. Kay mentions ND. All is forgiven. Rebels want you to destroy... Rebels and Kadik destroy droid. You'd leave. That's it. Oh, next one is Ank, a small, in size, demo expert who is in debt to the final gang of the game, the Shiga. These creatures are humanoid insects? I don't know since we don't see their faces. But they talk and breathe like bugs, so I'm going to stick with that. The queen of the Shiga is holding Ank until the debt is paid. Now, there's a small struggle going on in the Ashiga between the queen and the princess. The queen wants to stay loyal to the Empire, who allow them to more or less live how they choose, while the princess wants to be free in full. The only issue with that is that she's relying on Crimson Dawn, another more powerful gang, to help out. This is likely to have a price that isn't spelled out yet. Well, the princess allows you to break Ank out, but Ank isn't leaving just yet. She needs to finish the job before leaving, as she can't focus on more than one job at a time. Something I actually like. I will give that. I will give the story writing that much, but not much more. Well, Kay helps out and soon finds herself literally holding the future of the Ashiga in her hands. Now, this choice, you would think, would offer some sort of lasting effect on the game. It doesn't. Looking it up on YouTube, literally the only thing that changes is who dies And that's it. It's literally a scene of cutscene. That's it. Oh my god, this game's a fucking joke. The last member is an old gunslinger named Haas. The dude has a mountain of debt that is owed to Jabba the Hutt. And if you know Star Wars, you know Jabba isn't one to be messed with. First, we must find him. And we find him being held hostage by the Tuskens. Why didn't they just kill him? I don't know. All we are told is that they figured he was a good bargaining tool. Sure. Why not? We are sent on a pointless fetch quest and Haas is freed, only to ditch Kay to go gambling. He is, of course, losing this gambling. Who didn't see that coming? Well, he uses Nix as payment, and it works for some reason because, you know, why the hell not? He just throws a random animal and it's not his, but sure, yeah, that totally works. Kay fights people off, which is understandable, but gets knocked out, which is funny. I'll explain that later, too. We get a flashback. This one is when she first meets Nix. Rico and Kay are on a mission, which we don't know anything about, and Kay sees Nix in a cage. She frees him. And he helps them out. You want to know how? By setting the alarms off. That's right. He almost gets them killed. So when they're at Bram's and Mom is recovering from the gunshot she got in the arm, she's scolding Kay about staying focused on the job, which, you know, probably is the best advice Mom ever gave her. Stay focused. But Kay literally is not listening, nor caring that her mom almost got killed. All Kay says is, I'm keeping him. Wow. Yeah. I would be, Coming back to the real world, Kay knocks out Haas after finding out that Nix is probably at Jabba's palace. And she goes there to save him, while giving us Boba Fett and Han Solo Easter eggs. You know it's coming! On the way out, she gets captured. You know, shocker, since she went right into the main chambers, where Vale has Haas in chains and Jabba nearly kills all three of them via the Rancor pit. Wait, where is it? Okay, then the wolf pit? Sure. Oh, and Haas is dead now, so the mission's over since we are now short a member. Vale and Kay escape together, and oh, look, there it is. There's the Rancor. Oh, they are so fucked because this thing is so hard to kill, and he's beaten with ease while opening the goddamn door. Well, being captured again, Jabba forbids Kay and Vale from leaving the world before getting a Zarek Besh spy out of a nearby Imperial base. Vale is confused, and Jabba says she knows nothing. Now, keep in mind, Vale isn't an actual Zarek Besh person. She's a bounty hunter. But now she's being treated as if she is a Zarek Besh member with inside knowledge. Why? So, at the base, Kay helps Vale reach the spy and watches her kill him. Yay. And again, the spy acts like she's part of the crew. What the fuck is going on? She has no inside info on Zarek Besh. She's a bounty hunter. Boba Fett didn't have full knowledge on every organization he was hired for. I don't understand the thought process on this. Like, what were the writers thinking? Okay, well, on the way out, the two are followed and nearly killed. Right. But the ND saves them. Yay. Back at the hangar, Jabba allows them to leave. Kay tries to act tough by trying to square off against Vale, but Vale says, nah, and vows to dig into Zarek Besh as if she was personally slighted for not knowing about Zarek Besh. Again, she is not with them. She doesn't need to know. This is part of what I mean when I say the game is boring. It feels like the writers worked on each part on their own, and some poor schmuck had to fuse them all together somehow. And this is what we get. Each arc feels very disconnected from the other, and there was no real proofreader or a writer who went, wait, how do these all connect? These stories don't connect at all. But now we're entering the end game. There is one more crew mission to do. Remember when I said ND was having issues at the end of Kadik's mission? Well, even if you do this mission first, since you can literally do these missions in any order you want, that has zero effect on the game. Now, these issues are going to make you help ND out. During Kadik's mission, you save another droid smith who now has a shop. Congratulations, moving up in the world. Going to him, you finally run into someone who knows about the Death Mark and wants K. And he's down. So much for that. The shop is actually on top of an old droid factory where ND's model was made. What luck! In the factory, ND begs K to leave him since Jalen would send a new droid, but K won't. There's no reason for this, to be honest. Outside of side missions that can be completely skipped over, and I skipped over a ton. I know I did. There is no real building of this relationship. Most time they have together outside of the ship is here and the last mission. This is something I've been noticing about some modern shows, movies, and games. I'll get to this in a minute, but as Kay is getting close to what she needs, Zarek Besh shows up. Not sure how or why, but it could be assumed that the guy from before gave a heads up or something. But after some fighting and climbing, we run into the most unexpected people to run into again. The fucking rebels! Yay! Well, they took the place over and are willing to help Kay save ND. She just needs to help save some rebels being sold off to the Empire by the Hutts. Okay, no problem. Except it isn't the Empire that shows up. It's Zarek Besh for some reason. Keep this in mind. With both ends of the bargain held, Cade attempts to restart ND, but gets knocked out from electrical feedback. This flashback is oddly placed as it involves Gadik. More specifically, when she left him to be captured. Like, why wasn't this one with his mission? Basically, it's Bram lecturing Kay about leaving Gadik behind to be captured, and when Kay complains, he says that's Rico talking, not Kay. Oh, and speaking of Rico, she's here! Yay! Seems Jalen came in for some reason and brought her. They don't know why. He says that the heist needs 2 hackers, and Rico is the best, and Kay is second best. Well, Kay gets pissy, and Rico waits outside, and Jalen asks Kay what she wants to do after the heist is over. Kay doesn't have an actual answer. Clearly she got her rant that the first 2 worlds were about going to the co-worlds. Shocker. Anyway, Jalen tells her that his family were shipbuilders, and when the Empire took over, they smelled weakness, and they used it to tear them apart. This is meant to be a lesson to Kay, who really doesn't take it to heart. I mean, I get it. I'd be mad at my mom just up and vanished when I was 12, but if it was meant getting millions of dollars, I put that shit aside for the time being. Millions. Oh, and Ashura's from the beginning of the game is here to replace Haas. Yep, he's back. This is where we enter the real end game. 3 missions with no break in between them until the game is beaten. Now, they aren't long by themselves, but it doesn't feel natural, in my opinion. First up, an Imperial security station to steer Sliro's codes to unlock the vault. Now, why the hell would the codes be here? We're not told, but shown. But before that, during the mission, Rico is trying to work with Kay on friendly terms and trying to be a mother too, while Kay is having none of it. Kay is still acting like a child here, and honestly, it's annoying. And now to Sliro. Well, it turns out he's an ISB, Imperial Security Bureau, for those who don't know, director, and Zarek Besh was his idea to find the rebels in the underworld. Which is honestly one of the dumbest ideas ever. The Empire works with the underworld in some cases. We've seen it before. What is stopping any ISB person offering a cash reward for any rebels like we saw with the Hutts just before this? The best part, though, is he's bragging about this to Darth Vader, who is telling Sliro, who is only here to tell Sliro the Emperor is mad and he needs to get his shit together. But why Vader? Why the right hand of the Emperor? Why not some random paper pusher? Is it just because they could? Yeah. Anyway, code in hand, it's time for round 2. And mine is going in from the back way and getting separated from your team. It's pretty much exactly the same. Nothing of real note happens except Kay isn't a real pitch to Rico. So there's that. But once in the vault, Sliro shows up after 3 waves of Zarek Besh. Oh, shocker, Vale's with him. And another shocker, one you never saw coming, ever, I guarantee it, yeah! She turns on him. He threatens her, but Kay offers 15% of the take and Vale KOs.
Not killing the only person who has blackmailed her.
And KOs Sliro. Clearly the best move, since once he wakes up, he totally cannot just ruin you, like completely, like never. KO, that's it, and he's done. Nope. They all leave. Nope, it's done. He can't do it. Nope. Nope. Not part of the Imperial at all. Nope. And after getting the chest full of credits, the team splits up. It is now Rico and Ashura with Kay. A short shootout later, and unlocking some doors, the 3 of them are on the Trailblazer with ND and Jalen. Rico is opening the chest, and there it is! The Codex. Wait, what? That's right, the whole thing was a setup to steal a little black book, so to speak, that is worth millions in the right hands. My guess is that Ashura was hired by Jalen in the beginning to seal it, but got caught. Duh. That would explain how Jalen found and hired Kay to do the job. But, of course, Jalen goes back on his word and betrays the rebels. While Kay is shocked, she just wants what is owed to her and does the dumb thing and points her gun at the Codex. Jalen orders ND to stun her, but ND hesitates because of the bond between them is so amazing. But Rico interferes, taking Kay's gun away, and ND stuns her. One final flashback, where Rico leaves Kay. God damn, it's about time. Bram pushes the gun we've had throughout the entire game, and a poker chip that is meant meaningful, but we barely saw it throughout the game. It is, in fact, only mentioned when Rico joins the team. Kind of like Hans Dice that just suddenly appeared in Solo, and we are meant to believe it is something important and special. A holo message that Kay doesn't even listen to, before Bram said that she could stay as long as she needed, which was 10 years. Yep, 10 years. Kay wakes up in a small cell and panics. The chips falls out and it is flashing. Take a guess why. Suddenly the door opens up and Ankh is there with Kadik. Did you figure it out yet? It's a tracker device. It seems that Kay is still on the Trailblazer, and that is on an Imperial Star Destroyer. Aang and Gadik are the only ones who have the right idea and just want to leave. But Kay says that ND can't walk away. A forced friendship is so annoying. Like, one of the most annoying things you can do. So, dress up as a stormtrooper. Gee, I wonder where they got that idea from. Kay leads Gadik to a council where he tracks Sliro and some bigwig. A short walk later, and Kay is right behind Sliro. Like, literally, it's a 20-second walk. There's a timer that I think is like 30 seconds to reach him. You need all of 10 seconds or something like that just to go from point A to point B. You could literally watch Sliro come off his ship and walk to you. Once on the bridge, a hollow of Vader tells Sliro that he is done. Jalen then dramatically walks into frame. And we know what's going on. Vader hands literally everything over to Jalen, leaving Sliro with nothing. And now we are told that they have the same father. Shocker! It's like we could have figured this out ages ago. You know, since they literally have the two same speeches about their family being ship makers on Corellia during the Clone Wars and Empire. Like, really? It seems that Sliro, who I'm assuming is not blood related, wanted more than what he was given and called Jalen and his family traitors to the Empire. Then Sliro got hold of ND and had him hunt them down. Jalen at some point put a restraint on him and now has ND kill Sliro. Kay tries to be slick and shoots the other stormtrooper, then Jalen, but ND shoots the gun out of her hand. Should have gone for Jalen first. Jalen marks her, and Kay says she's only there for ND. Oh, and Ashur is there too. He's kind of an afterthought. And now is a running part because this is where ND becomes Batman. Kay runs around as ND hunts her down. Within a core system where the shields are powered, we learn ND can be stunned if the engines are turned on. Once stunned, Kay removes the restraint and ND kills Jalen, who is now here. Oh, and the Ashur is being used as a meat shield. Clearly that worked. A long firefight to their ship later, and the Star Destroyer arrives at the Rebel base world. You know, the one where they took over a droid factory? Yeah. Guess Jalen gave that location to Vader too.
Good bargaining chip, I guess.
Now, Kay wants to save them by distracting the Star Destroyer. And of course it works. The rebels escape and help finish off the Star Destroyer. But in this fight, whoever you have the highest rep with will come too. This is literally the only time it matters. But for one short cutscene, and that's it. Not much else. No special skills, no ships or weapons. What a fucking letdown. With the Star Destroyer down, the rebels are safe, and Kay is free to do whatever she wants. Aang and Gadik go on their own job, and Kay and ND basically just go do post-game stuff. Vale also shows up, and Kay gives her the Codex. Vale brings up that it was meant to have been destroyed in the last fight, but it was also promised to the gang who helped you out. So what the fuck is this? Because I don't think losing the Codex is a forgivable offense. And that's basically the quick version of Star Wars Outlaws. Rant time. Yeah. So, as I said before, these stories suck. They're only here to pad the main story, which in of itself is short. And although it was neat to have a heist story in Star Wars, this wasn't the one. We literally could skip the crew stories and nothing would have changed. None of them go through an actual story arc where they change or grow in any way. Kay becomes less hostile to Rico, and that's just about it. They try to make it seem like she's willing to work with others because by the end, ND is the only one still with her. But that doesn't mean anything. Why? Well, none of your crew ever leave the ship unless it's for a particular mission, which they then become some of the worst AI allies ever to have. They can't hit for anything, and if they are meant to do an action, it's on rails. You can't control them by telling them to go over there. In fact, the few missions they are with you, there are not a lot of firefights. The only time they are useful is the last mission where their shields are preventing you from going forward. But that's only because it's on a number of baddies in the room before the shields go down. You get some help, but it isn't much. Well, they must add something to the game, you may be saying. Well, yes and no. While they don't aid you in combat, you get skills from them. Them and 5 others become mentors that you give them particular items, and you get some new and somewhat useful skills. Some are talking your way out of being arrested for a short time. Smoke bombs, oh, these suck. And more Deadeye shots. But honestly, for as bad as the AI is and how combat isn't that difficult, you don't need these skills at all. More Deadeye is good for sure, but you really don't need to upgrade from the base. I was so happy to get smoke bombs until I found out you cannot use them willy-nilly. You have an unlimited supply, but it's on a timer, and you can only throw them at your feet, which is pointless when you're being shot from across the map. I did this twice, and the enemy still tracked me from the wall I was hiding behind. It's useless unless the bad guys are right next to you. The skill I found the most useful was the turn on the Trailblazer, which leads me into space combat. The absolute worst space air combat I have ever played. Now, for comparison, I'm going to tap into Starfield for a minute. It isn't that complicated. You can have up to 3 different weapon classes placed just about anywhere you want on your ship, and they all have different effects on the enemy ships. You can go fast, you can slow down, you can even back up to pull off tighter turns. Locking on isn't too hard. Just push a button and boom. While there are some environmental factors to worry about, it isn't that hard of a system to handle. Now take that and pretend I didn't say any of that, because space combat in Outlaws is so basic and watered down, it makes Starfield look hard. You have 2 weapons, lasers and missiles. Now, while they can be upgraded, these upgrades really don't change much. Locking on requires you to do so when the enemy is in front of you. And it isn't right away because you have to lock on really fast. And then suddenly you're on rails. So here's the enemy, here's you, enemy goes this, you do this. Like, it's... You trail them with no control over your ship. Even trying to free aim like you can in Starfield is annoying. You can go forward and stop. That's it. You cannot back up. So if you're trying to turn around, it's super slow. It also leaves you vulnerable to being lit up by the bad guys. You can't even upgrade the ship beyond engine power, which isn't useful enough in the matter. Now, I forgot you can upgrade shields, but still, it's just, what's the point? Most upgrades, in K's included, are more cosmetic. The gang gear, as I mentioned, has some stat changers, which, don't get me wrong, are good, but almost useless. The gear I used was more health boosting items and healing item capacity. I barely used grenades, clearly. I didn't worry about the Deadeye, and honestly, I can't even remember what else they have. But most of the gear you find literally is just for cosmetics, and this is for everything. K, Nyx, the ship, your speeder. Like, why? Why doesn't each item have some stats boost or something that would help in some way? Why do we need 20 paint schemes for the ship and speeder? 50 for K, 10 for Nyx. Why? We don't need these. And speaking of Nyx, he has some usefulness. He can steal items, mostly grenades, from people. It's money at first, but he stops doing that very quickly. Also, key items during specific missions. You can also send off an echo to show off nearby enemies. Lastly, it's distracting enemies, either by leading them to a spot or jumping on them. Now, the Echo Radar thing is common in Ubisoft games, but this one has a very limited range. I will give him this small. I will give him this. It is a small animal, and therefore isn't going to be as powerful. But it can easily mess you up if you are ready to move and suddenly a bad guy enters that limited range. You're kind of SOL, or you have to stop. Now, stealing items is actually funny. Because no matter what, it works. You can literally have Nyx steal something with the person looking at you and see Nyx come back to you and they go on their set path as if nothing ever happened. Like, even with the patches, there is no change to this. Why not have some sort of challenge? Have it where they call Nyx out and like going, hey, guards, that little fucker there stole my shit. And he has to hide. Why not have a mission where the target goes to the house and you have to find a way for Nyx to get into the house, or even the ability to take control of him? Anything. And distracting is actually pointless. He can only distract one. Uno. En. Jiden. Fuck! This is only okay when there's two enemies next to each other in a stealth run, so you can KO one while Nyx is attacking the other. That is the only time this is useful outside of one bad guy just standing there, which happens more than you might think. Now, there are upgrades for Nyx. Yep, that's right. 4 in total. I can't remember 2 of them, but 2 are return grenades to their owner, and he can distract up to 2 enemies. Oh my god, such an upgrade! Yes! Holy fuck, dude, only 2? Like, really? And now I want to get into the characters and crew members. As I said before, Kay's only growth is she's less hostile to Rico by game's end. And there's even a mid-credit scene where she helps Rico escape Imperial control. But that's it. Rico doesn't come back and all the others leave as well. And, well, that doesn't affect you since, as mentioned, they didn't aid you outside of expert skills. But that isn't the point. My biggest issue is the lack of growth in any way. Kadik is the worst offender. Kay literally fucked him over. He hates her when he goes to get him. He should still hate her. He literally drops all the wrongdoings when Kay mentions ND. Like, it is never, ever brought up again. It is as if nothing ever happened. Ank at the end shows a very slight change in saying she was going to go and retire. But as soon as Kadik mentions another job, she goes right back to it. ND only changes in caring for Kay for some reason. Beyond looking out for her in Jalen's mission, he really shouldn't care for her at all. He's a battle droid. He has one owner with a restraining bolt on him. He can't go outside of his program. Which that shouldn't matter because once Jalen reprogrammed him, he shouldn't be able to defy him. So why does he have a personality? Not only that, but the ability to defy his masters? Another example of horrible writing. The story has too many holes in it, but for some of them we can fill in. Like how Jalen and Sliro are brothers, but Sliro says your father, as if they're not blood related. Like Jalen's father remarried or adopted Sliro, but had some resentment to him. It is most likely that Sliro betrayed the whole family just for power. Which, I mean, yeah, we kind of got that. It seems to be more towards Jalen himself. Sliro definitely was a snake, but I can't say Jalen was any better. He hid in the shadows and used others to do his dirty work. I get he wanted revenge, but it could have honestly been better if he was more involved. Like, it's just these writers haven't written a story before. And the last thing I think I want to cover, and it is something that this game is meant to focus on. Yes, I know this review seems all over the place, but hey, the last thing is the stealth mechanics. The game heavily relies on this, right after the reputation system. In fact, this game was meant to be more of a stealth-focused game. The problem is that the stealth system is, well, broken. Even after a few patches to the game, the version I was playing didn't really improve on this at all. Now, there's a couple ways to hide. In tall grass, which gives you a smokier ring around your screen, or behind a wall. That's it. Now, you may be asking, how is this broken? Simple. It doesn't always work. I had many a time been in grass and the AI still tracked me and fought me. Sometimes it works as intended and other times it doesn't. Really, hiding on a wall is the best bet, as most baddies will never see you there. And on a funny note about the Mary Sue comment I made before, K can easily KO normal troopers with one punch, 3 in combat. Many people feel this is from the Kenobi show where an Imperial defector goes close quarter combat on 2 troopers with no weapons. It is funny to me, one, that literally it makes the armor pointless in every meaning of the word. Lasers can't stop it, and now a 150-pound 22-year-old can KO them. And 2, she can't pick the bodies up, but she can one-shot them with her fists. In stealth games, hiding bodies is important, not to be caught. And you can KO heavy type of enemies, but that requires a late game skill. Like you unlock it after the ND mission. So basically right before the end of the game. This means it's only good for KOing Zarek Besh guys in post-game missions. In conclusion, the game isn't good. The story is too simple, not helped by the simplicity of the overall narrative and goal. They had a chance to make a great heist story set to Star Wars, but failed. The Outlaws are yet to be found in this very childlike version of what an outlaw is. The mechanics of the game do not function as needed, and there is nothing to pull in new players or keep those who finish the game. I will say with all my heart, skip this game. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.